15 speakers registered for this MTA hearing. They will get a chance to tell the MTA what they're thinking about these service cuts. The first speaker, City Council Speaker Christine Quinn.
But assign somebody to holler out in the hallway. But thank you for giving me this opportunity to testify this morning. I think, as you're well aware, over 5.2 million New Yorkers rely on New York City's subway and buses every single day. The board's scheduled vote today on next year's budget amounts to less than a week after there's been a release of the cuts that are proposed today. Less than a week gives the riding public no real opportunity to comment on these cuts. It gave people no real time during the holiday season to take a morning off from work. It gave school children no time to organize themselves and get their opinion heard. And I am very sympathetic, as the head of a legislative body that has had to make tough cuts and will have to make tough cuts, about how difficult the situation you all are in. But what you cannot cut out is the public's opportunity to be heard. This cannot be today the last opportunity the public has to make their voice heard. By conducting business in this way, you send a message, perhaps unintentionally, but that the opinions of those you are charged to serve do not matter. Now, that's not the message you want to send. But worse than sending that message, you cut off any opportunity to have other ideas put on the table. Now, I know you all agree that the cuts you're talking about today, school Metro cards, Accessoride, are some of the last things you would ever want to do. So why not have a process where other ideas can come forward? The council, working with the Strap Hangers campaign, and I in particular need to thank my colleague, Councilmember Jimmy Vaca, we've proposed some other alternatives for you to consider. You could reallocate 10% of direct stimulus aid to MTA operating expenses. That's $91.5 million. Although this is not something you want to do regularly, you could use budgeted pay-go capital funds for operating, $50 million. Now, you want to avoid, obviously, repeating the problem of the 70s and using capital for expense. But if you look at the enormity of the challenges of the MTA capital budget, that $50 million is sadly a rounding error. $40 million is the paratransit cut. That is something worth considering doing in limited situation. You could reallocate 10% of additional stimulus transit aid to state operating, $30 million. Now, is this the greatest idea in the world? I don't know, but it's worth considering. And it's worth having a process where other ideas can come forward. Because what isn't worth considering is taking Metro cards away from students. I'll just sum up by saying, we tell kids, you get into pre-K, you go to 8th grade, you study really hard, you can go to any high school you want. But now, maybe not so much you can get up to Bronx High School of Science if your parents don't have enough money to get you a Metro card yourself. This isn't what we want to do, even in these tough times. I know how hard your job is. Ours will be equally hard in June, but we stand at the ready to work with you to find other options, and I urge you not to make today the final word on the future of mass transit, particularly for students and disabled New Yorkers. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Council Speaker.